Hey guys, Eddie here. I wanted to do a video on the process that I use to figure out which cryptocurrencies that I like to invest in. Um, I got involved in Bitcoin back in 2012. Absolutely love Bitcoin, so this is not a Bitcoin diss video. It's more of what are the up and comers that are going to challenge Bitcoin now. You know, as Zero Hedge says, on a long enough timeline, everything goes to zero. So Bitcoin will not be on top forever. And I believe there are a couple of fundamental principles as to why it won't be on top forever. Um, the current situation of world money and the way that it's been for quite some time is, it's all fiat. So it's all just money by decree. The central banks print money as needed. So that's, inflationary by design. Now, Um, I'm not against a slightly inflationary monetary system, something that is either set at a low or like a low percentage rate, per year, 1% of base, or a constant kind of like the Grin coin does. Um, but Bitcoin has a fixed amount and it's ever decreasing, which is similar to the concept of gold. However, latecomers or people who get into Bitcoin um, later on in life are going to seemingly view this as unfair because, guys like me who got in pretty early, have the advantage. So they don't want to work in a system that, has natively given other people advantages. And I look at it the same way too. I don't see that as being even advantageous to myself because, in the case of Bitcoin, there are a number of sites where you can pay for items directly in Bitcoin. Now, I'm a software developer. I live predominantly on the road out of hotels. I have been paying for all of my hotels, all my flights, and even on occasion, I think at one point they had hooked up the car rentals on cheapair.com. But, as far as hotels um, and flights, I've been paying with Bitcoin on that site since 2013 or 14. And that's the only thing I pay with is typically Bitcoin on that site. But recently, in the past couple of years, they've incorporated other coins, for payment. So you can use Bitcoin Cash and Dash, Ethereum. So in my mind, just knowing that the the use case for crypto, which is store of value, transactionary. If I can do both with the same coin, and one of those coins has a lower market cap and more volatility for the same purpose, I have a better chance of scoring bigger with a lower market cap coin. So that's one argument. Now there's a couple of other arguments that I want to make. Um, the I guess the second argument that I would start to make, that really kind of started to open my eyes to some of the possibilities of what's possible with crypto was when Next came out, NXT. The developer behind NXT, I think his pseudonym on screen was like JL777. And this guy was doing like, if you looked at his GitHub repo, it's probably still out there. We can probably find it. I think he was doing like 8,000 commits a year on his repo. And Next was hands down the best structure of a coin out there as far as not only usability but features. I mean, it had or still has decentralized encrypted email, decentralized encrypted assets, decentralized encrypted marketplace. So all of these other features that make it easy to use crypto almost as like an entire platform where it's almost the beginning of a decentralized internet, and it also had, speaking of decentralized internet, had decentralized DNS, which you could create aliases, so you didn't have to worry about these long SHA-256 addresses. So next, I think really was the coin that put the hook in me that okay, there's tons of possibilities here for Bitcoin to get unseated very quickly. Um, the coin that really excited me about the after next about a lot of the possibilities was Dash. Dash used to be called, I think it was like Dark Zero Dark or Dark Zero Coin or Dark Coin, something like that. I think it was Dark Coin, and then they changed the name to Dash so that it wouldn't seem so nefarious. But Evan Duffield, the gentleman behind Dash, um, I think he forked the Litecoin code, I believe. But what he did was he incentivized the nodes. So in the Bitcoin um, core, nodes are not given incentives. So there's no real incentive to run a full Bitcoin node, especially knowing that you're likely not going to win the lottery and get any mining reward. Uh, but Evan Duffield created this node reward system, master nodes, ingenious. So the nodes are actually rewarded for participating in the network. So the nodes get 45%, the miners get 45%, but then also ingeniously, the other critical aspect I think to crypto, which I don't think Bitcoin can ever truly implement without doing they absolutely can't do it without doing a hard fork, is decentralized governance. And so coins like you know uh, Dash and Pivx, and I think Waves and Lisks, and maybe Decred has like a decentralized governance model. I mean that's critical. I mean the fact that these coins are self funded and are rewarded based on the progress that they make. So I really can't see Bitcoin being on top uh, forever. And my timeline for thinking Bitcoin would get unseated was probably about this time, but I think it will happen within the next few years. My personal opinion is that coins like Dash or Bitcoin Cash are best suited to unseat Bitcoin. But we'll see, and there could be new coins on the horizon that you know there could be new coins on the horizon that totally blow out you know um, these other coins that I've mentioned that I think are going to do great. So here's part of what I do when I'm researching coins, and I typically do this about once or twice a day. The two sites that I really love for researching coins are CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko. So CoinMarketCap, I mean, most people in the crypto space are aware of this site. It's fantastic. Um, what I'm typically looking for, and I have written a Google script that used to run off this API and used to give me the data, the core data that I was looking for, and I might share that link at some point if enough people ask. The reason I'm not hesitant, the reason I'm a little hesitant to share it is that the API has been upgraded, and so I never, implemented the new APIs. So, I don't want to just put out poor code. So, all right. So when I go to CoinMarketCap, I'll typically go to this View All screen here, and what that will do is it will give us. It doesn't give you all 5,000 currencies that are currently listed in the crypto space, and I'm sure there's a lot more than that. But what it does is it gives you about 200 coins, and it gives you these breakdowns by percent change by hour, day, and week. I typically like to see which coins are. It's funny, I love Grosso coin, but which coins have shifted the most in the past hour? And as you can see in this case, Grosso coin has gained about 6% in the past hour. And the reason that I like that metric is that you kind of want to see where the early money is. Now, right, 99% of the time, this is a pump and dump aspect. Now, Grosso coin, I had a ton of Grosso coin from early on. Love Grosso coin, but since it came up, this will be a good coin to research. I've actually forgotten most of the properties of Grosso coin because I'm researching so many coins that I often forget what their properties are. So, I'll start with a coin at the top that I'm unfamiliar with that maybe is new on the scene and click on it just to get some data about it. Uh, CoinMarketCap is fantastic as far as the amount of information they give you. And, this information is core to deciding what coins you want to invest in. So, the first thing I'll typically do is I'll read, the little about snippet here on Grasso Coins. So, it launched in March 2014, peer to peer. You hope, unlike XRP and Stellar, focused on technological advancement. GRC has reported the first coin to implement segregated witness. Okay, so a lot of talk about segregated witness with Bitcoin now, and for a few years now, and performed the first Lightning Network transaction. Also, a lot of talk and I think also a lot of disdain from some people about Lightning Network on the mainnet. 2 rounds, Grossel 512 for its mining algorithm. Okay, Grossel claims to have major development releases every 3 months. Okay, so that's important. So one of the first things I will typically look at is the GitHub repo, and fantastic on every single coin that I've seen on CoinMarketCap, or most of them. You can get the source code. So I will open up this link in a new window. So it brings us to the GitHub, and we can see here when was the last time Grossel coin was updated. So this looks like the repo right here, and you can see it was updated 4 days ago. And whilst I don't do any C++ anymore, which is what the majority of these coins are written in because they're forks of Bitcoin, and I think the core code is predominantly C++. I'm not really looking at the code, but I want to see, how frequently they commit. So you can see on Grossel coin here, there was a commit 21 days ago. Now for a coin that claims they're going to release code like a major release every 3 months. Okay, that's not too bad. And these people are not dedicated full time, so you might not see an update every day. But if you look in here and the last update you see is from 4 or 5 months ago, that might be a coin that is not getting any updates, is not getting the attention that it deserves, or there might have been a pump and dump. The core developers might have just cashed out. So you could even click on the latest commit and take a look and see what they've updated. It might just be just comments, so there might not be anything relevant. And so we got a YAML file here. So if you can read code, you can go through this and kind of see if there's anything relevant. As far as code changes, it doesn't look like there's any deletions. Okay, there's just additions here, but here's some deletions. And here we got an MD file, so we can see what happened. Travis directory contains scripts. Okay, so they're giving you some comments. So you can see quite a number of updates. Shell script. And but I think the most important metric is just the frequency. All right, the other thing that I look at is what I initially had touched upon, which is the circulating supply versus the max supply. And CoinMarketCap is great in this regard too, because it gives you the circulating supply, number of coins that are in circulation, the total, and then the max. I am typically looking for an infinite supply of coins, something along the lines of like Red Coin, or as I mentioned before, like Grin, either something where it's algorithmically, or Peercoin. I love Peercoin. It's like at a 1% growth rate forever. So, this is not completely a detriment for me, but it's, I do like to see coins that, are on some kind of long-term schedule where there's some kind of equity for new people coming in. Otherwise, these cryptocurrencies can become like a poker game where, people who are in a unfair situation in the current system, like the Federal Reserve, they can print up as much as they want of fake money, these dollars, US dollars, or, in the case of the Chinese, the yuan, and, the euro and the British pound and reals. And, they can just print it up and just attempt to hoard the existing Bitcoin. And, I get it, from an Austrian economic standpoint, that is beneficial for the coin, but for generations down the line, it becomes ever increasingly hard to attain those coins. And, we have, it's not infinite indivisibility, but at the current, it theoretically can be infinite divisibility. So, it's currently out to 8 decimal places on Bitcoin. You can go out to, I think, 18 decimal places on Ether. So I get it that we can chop this thing down into very, very small pieces, but I don't like the approach of, ever decreasing. I mean, just make it predictable so that people can strategize around how to acquire new coins, old coins that are locked up, and where people lost keys or people die and haven't transferred their keys properly, or don't have a methodology for transferring their keys. Those coins could be locked up forever, but it's fine because there will be a recuperation going forward. Okay. So the other site that I really like, well, I'll just go through a couple of more things on CoinMarketCap just to show what's so nice about CoinMarketCap. There's so many metrics. It's fantastic. All-time high, yesterday's change. The different metrics on the hourly change, 90 days, 52 all-time highs, the current market cap. Plus you've got the exchanges where it's most highly traded. So like Grosso Coin is traded on Upbit, the social connections. So you got your Reddit here and some tweets on Grosso Coin. What's good about that is you can see like when it last, you can see how recent the tweets or Reddit links are. Sometimes you'll come out to Reddit and you won't see posts for 5 months. It doesn't have a lot of social traction, which is, can be important, but you can't give that a ton of credibility. Like early 2017, I loved Pivx, and it just came out on the scene. And it was a fork of Dash with staking, which I love these staking coins. I love like Redcoin. I love Pivx. So I got involved early on in Pivx, and when no one else was around on it. And one of the things I really loved about the Pivx development team was that they were very responsive. So I had loaded Pivx on a Windows machine like this one, on a Debian Linux, on a Raspberry Pi, and on a Mac. And when I had issues, which I frequently had issues with some of those builds, and what I loved about the Pivx development team is that they always got back to me and they always fixed the bugs. So there were frequently bugs, but you know what? I mean, I'm a software developer. My code crashes all the time. There's always challenges and debugs that have to happen. So, to their credit, they always came back and, fixed the challenges that they had. So that's what you want to see from a development community. You don't mind the errors as much as, the capacity for them to fix it. And I got to say, every time, and I complained a lot. I was a big baby complaining to them, and I think I made most of those complaints public. We can probably find some of my Reddit, threads where I bitched at them, and some of my Twitter posts where I bitched at them. But they always address the issues. So I still have respect for Pivx to this day. That's one of my that's one of the coins I truly love. So yeah, the social aspect can be important for a brand new coin. Maybe not so much, just because it's just getting started. It's just getting its legs. I forget what tools is. Oh, okay, if you want to embed the widget somewhere on a website, you can do that. I don't use that too much. The historical data is good if you want to do some linear regression or some mathematics on some of the data. Honestly, I have not even looked at the ratings section here, so I don't even know what that is. On-chain analysis, that might be a new tab that they've put in. You've got the link to the website as we saw, and then Explorer is very important. So, when you need to, check a transaction, you can Google what the Explorer is for that specific coin, but it's always nice that they give you the link. Now, the other site that I use for doing it, essentially, the same research, but it's kind of my second choice, and only other choice, I should say, is CoinGecko. And CoinGecko has an extremely similar layout. I like to do both just because I love this stuff. All right, and as you can see, the default is to show the 1 hour, 24, and 7 day, and I do essentially the same thing. Okay, so Bytecoin is blown up, and Bytecoin has really blown up over the past few months. And look at this; it's up almost 86% in the week. And I do like Bytecoin. It's a privacy coin, similar to Bitcoin, but with privacy. But it also has a hard max on the cap. And so if we go in here, same thing, you can see some of the data. It has a hard max of 184 billion coins. So there's only 4 billion coins left to come out. And, it might be on a very slow algorithmic model where, those 4 billion coins come out over the next 100 years. But, you know, I, there, something like Bitcoin, as much as I love it, there are no real world use cases like, Bitcoin Cash, where you can use it on gambling sites. You can use it at cheapair.com. There's a lot more play. You start to see it now at the Bitcoin ATMs. Something like Bitcoin, you would have to explicitly go out to an exchange and purchase, and it would be more speculative. So I'm also looking for the usability factor, sites where, or coins where I can use that coin to, like I said, I'm living out of hotels most of the time, flying a good deal of the time. And, I know I can pay with crypto for my flights and hotels, and I always do. And, like Cheap Air gives you a good choice now. You can use Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Dash, Ethereum, as I've mentioned before. So, if I really, really love a coin, I'll go out of my way and purchase it off of a site. Bitcoin, with the growing, doubling almost in a week, and I'm not sure I would. I'm not sure I would invest my money in Bitcoin. But these are just the things that I look at. Everyone is different, but I think some of the metrics that I've mentioned are important. And just to recap them, I'm looking for, I think, in order of importance for me, I think decentralized governance is the most important thing. The current Bitcoin model, where these, like I met Gavin Andreessen back in the San Jose Bitcoin conference back in 2013. It was the first big Bitcoin conference I had been to. I was thrilled to meet him. And, he did all that work for free for years. And, I know there's some people thinking right now, well, he generated so many coins from mining and this, but, he did all that work for free. So, God bless the man. But, the decentralized governance model, be near next to impossible to implement in Bitcoin. And, they would have to do a hard fork. I'm not certain everyone would be down for, changing the consensus rules now. And then we'd probably have a similar, result as we've had with Bitcoin Cash and Bitcoin SV, where you do a hard fork and then, you have, parties just fracture off and, then, the community decides who's the winner, retains the name of the original Bitcoin, who's Bitcoin with decentralized governance. And, so it'd be like BDC or BDG rather. So, yeah, in order of importance, the decentralized governance. I like staking coins. I think staking aspect is a better model than the current methodology of mining. So I like proof of stake as opposed to proof of work. I like the no hard cap on the number of coins with very, very low inflation, similar to Peer Coin, where it's like 1% growth, or Red Coin, where I think it's like typically shoots, I think, between 4 and 5%. Yeah. So listen, good luck, everyone, and happy investing with crypto.